Stats there from the Las Vegas resident of Branden, Sorensen. See what you got going against Trenton Beecham. I know he's hungry as well. All right, this LS-powered BMW coming into that first front flip. Beecham in tow, giving himself maybe too much room here in that 2-1-2 performance. BMW as Branden Sorensen comes up into the keyhole. Beecham brings in that second outside zone. Branden performing surgery as he comes out of the keyhole. Branden, you can see him bringing it down past that front clip. Really well executed from the 16-year-old driver. Piling that 2-1-2 performance, BMW. Send it, fellas. Come on, Beecham and Sorensen. Down by the Beecham. Past that front clip, knocking it over, both of them. Just barely nicking it. Now up into that first outside zone. Segueing into the second. Branden Sorensen, a great chase job there from this 16-year-old pilot. Woo, look at that. The 16-year-old driver, regardless of age ain't nothing but a number, and right now, Formula Drift competition. Branden Sorensen out front. Dean Carnage Carney in the chase position. Coming down the hill as the Oracle lights are on the back bumper of that BMW. Look at that nasty flick by Dean Carney. Oh, Branden going off. Wow, was that just crazy understeer? Did something happen? I mean, Branden absolutely shot off. There was no contact. So that means that there will be a massive deficit that unfortunately Branden will have.
Yeah, if I had to speculate there, big, powerful.
On the left side of the bracket, Matt Field against JTP Von Kent Jr. versus Eve Meyer. And now, who's moving on? Carney and Sorensen. If Carney keeps it on the road, he will advance into the Great Eights. Wow, real, oh my goodness.
Another one.
Another one.
Now this one at first pass looks a little bit more interesting because there was
going against Eve Meyer in the Drift Force BMW. See what we got. Sorensen out front. Tap the brakes a little bit, working it in. A little left brake tap. High on the bank of Sorensen. Eve Meyer not as high as Sorensen powers through that jump and in that second clip. A lot of those chase drivers get thrown off through the smoke. Eve makes a small correction to get out and deeper on that second outside zone. Really wants to gain some ground here in Orlando. Eve Meyer, are you going to feel the drift force? Here we go. Sorensen jumps to the side of Meyer. Look at that, Branden Sorensen right there. Eve Meyer comes down. The young buck gets bucked as he comes off the bank. And look at that. Looks like he went to the side. Oh, we got to take a look at the replay. And Eve Meyer. The lights come on. Both the Type S lights surrounding this E-Town track. The Crazy 8 going under the Tower of Power. Here comes Branden Sorensen and now Masuyama into that first outside zone. Now coming through the crossover into that second outside zone, which is the biggest one of them all. If you're just joining us, not watching Pro Spec earlier or our first battle, there's a second battle up top 32. Branden Sorensen comes out of the outside zone and tries to tighten up to that front clip. Wide swing, slow and low. That is the tempo right now as Branden Sorensen brings it into the treacherous outside zone 3. You saw him go barely off earlier in that sight lap. All right, here we go. Masuyama, that Buy Now Japan Sylvia S15. Ryan, you're talking about it a lot. Oh, nice, getting tight to the wall. This is where you can really perform some surgery, but you can showboat. Speaking of boat, with the moisture, and Masuyama brings it all the way out to the track's edge. But Branden Sorensen with amazing proximity here. Look at that, keeping the control, passing past that inside front clip, and Masuyama maxing out the angle as Branden Sorensen brings it around. Oh! E-Town playing host to round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Denofa out front, Sorensen chasing him down. And there we go, Chelsea Denofa bringing it into the wet. You got to think him living up in the PDX, talking about Portland. He's got a school drift where he teaches a lot of kids in the wet, and there goes Denofa. You got to think from his first run against LZ, he's going to change that setup up. Right there. Yeah, look at that. Sorensen right in the mix. That 2-1-2 BMW into that final outer zone. Oh, slow motion with me. Slow motion for me. There we go. Got it. Yeah, yep. All right, here we go. So Branden Sorensen out front, Chelsea Denofa in that chase position. Let's see how Sorensen does out front with the clean air, not getting the spritz in his face. Now changing it back into that second outer zone. Big angle there from Sorensen, looking fairly similar to what Chelsea did on that second outer zone. Ooh, looks like losing some parts, but Sorensen hanging in that outside zone. Ooh, overshoots that front clip. And now into that final outer zone. Sorensen gaining a lot of wows from these guys. Some contact made between Chelsea up to pro, going from Pro 2 to Pro. So here we go. Branden Sorensen, Rome Charpentier, the garage stick, E36. Here we go. Branden Sorensen initiating into the bank. Great angle there from Branden Sorensen. You can see him dabbling with the edge of that outside zone. Look at Rome Charpentier going hard as Branden shuts her down.
Two's out fault.
Right. All right, here we go as Rome Charpentier will now lead. Branden Sorensen will give chase. Let's see how Rome handles this. And Branden goes hard. Looks like, oh man, we have an absolute grudge match right now as Rome gets knocked. He drops to a lower line. Branden Sorensen now coming in on that second outside zone. That 2-1-2 performance. BMW now coming, chasing down the garage stick, E36. So old versus new. Rome a little bit of years above the teenager that is Branden Sorensen. Carnage, just an exciting driver to watch. The lone viper in competition. Here we go. Branden Sorensen out of the gates. We got a clean start. Branden Sorensen. Manji's into that initiation, the outside zone, and Dean Carnage Carney definitely getting close, knocking on his door. Definitely not mimicking the angle. There he goes. Now throws some more angle at it into the power rally. Getting bathed in smoke right now. Bath and Body Works. No soap bombs here, just smoke bombs into that front clip. And into that final zone. That was a weird line by Branden Sorensen. SEA. Lights are illuminated, extinguished, and out. So here we go. Dean Carnage Carney, a slow trickle. Now he's going to turn up the volume here. Dean Carney initiates. Gets high in the bank, a lot more composure out front. That front lip clapping, flapping in the wind. And look at this massive angle here from Dean Carney. Coming to that power rally, fills all that second outside zone. Branden Sorensen maybe a little bit timid from the Viper. And there we go, transitions back in that last outside zone. Branden Sorensen does take that similar line. Obviously, accidents do happen. Hurst spilling some oil, and I believe he's got a lot more damage, a lot more things to worry about other than oil on the track. Here we go, Branden Sorensen, Dean Carney, the one more time battle here in Seattle. Look at that, Branden Sorensen, great angle. Dean Carney goes and noses in again. We saw this in their first battle, and right back at it. Into that second outside zone, into the third, through that power rally. Ooh, Dean Carnage Carney coming up very short, not set himself up for success. Comes very shallow, does not get out to that third outside zone, Ryan. And Dean Carney, that Oracle Lighting, Dodge Viper on Nexen tires. And we got a clean start, here we go. Dean Carney, past the point no return, initiates right there at that last standing cone, 3, 2, 1. Big angle from Dean Carnage Carney, Branden Sorensen. Dropping down quite a bit. You can see this horsepower strength being flexed into that power rally, now pulling away into that third outside zone. Branden Sorensen, great proximity, good angle, takes out that front clip. Dean Carney now brings that final outside zone. Both of them filling it up. Who's coming out on top? The 2-1-2 performance BMW from Las Vegas. Makes his way through the start chicane. We got a clean start. Initiating, nice strong initiation there, and there is Dean Carney once again. He really likes that nosing in style, would like him to kind of drop back, and Branden throwing some more angle at it as he enters into the power rally. Pretty similar runs, and Dean not getting out to that third outside zone. He did that in that second battle, as now Branden Sorensen brings it in, really cleaning up that last and final outside zone.
Like sizable mistakes, one of them which I think is a little bit smaller, outside zone 4. So maybe an improvement there. Let's see if we can't get a victory here in this second half of the battle.
Yeah, we need a flawless run here, fellas. Here we go, Dean Carney High up on the bank, looks like he's got the clean air. Branden Sorensen a lot more settled here, but he is lower on the bank. Dean Carney, let's see how he handles the power rally with the clean air. That Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper transitioning now into that third outside zone, allowing Branden Sorensen to gain that proximity. Now transitioning in that final outside zone goes Dean Carnage Carney. As opposed to when they're next to each other, sometimes you get a little, you know, little pacing of different sorts, and also you can pace the vehicle. So here we go, Branden Sorensen in that first outside zone. Josh Reynolds actually going a little bit deeper. We'd like to see him mimic kind of Branden's line, even though it's not as deep. So you can see he's losing some ground here. Branden going a little faster line, really ripping through the course, and now really dialing in that outside zone, Ryan. Battle Reynolds and Sorensen. Needs to be blaringly obvious. Don't leave it in the judge's hands. Reynolds got a clean start out front, initiating. Branden way out there. I'm surprised he didn't drop in and yank that handbrake to get him into that first outside zone. In the second, now into that front inside clip. Great proximity here from Sorensen. Now coming in that last outside zone. Wow, Reynolds going way off course. Smart move by ready to shred. Two very different builds. And here we go. Off from that start chicane. Sorensen initiates. Filling all of that outside zone one. Dylan Hughes has to back off a little bit, has to correct his line, it seems like. Now into this third and outside zone. Approaching the final outside zone. Sorensen puts it right in there, has to leave. Dylan mimics his line fast on the Monroe Salt Flats next week. So be sure to follow, check out all the, oh wow, look at this. Dylan Hughes goes into that first outside zone, into the second. Like they were talking about in that battle against Jonathan Hurst, very fluid, filling all of the zones precisely is Dylan. I mean, that would have been a really high quality circuit and championship. Jonathan Hurst, watch this thing. Get ready to plug your ears. The Cash Racing turbocharged LS G37 coming into view here of the judges. Now into that first outside zone. There he goes, pop, block, and drop it. Into that outside zone, they're touch and go. Now into the outside zone. Branden Sorensen really deep, but then has to shallow up. Whoa, almost, oh, there was contact. But Hurst continues on. So both of them kind of having some wonky lines. Lights are on, extinguish, it's go time. Send it. Branden Sorensen out front from Las Vegas, 17 years young. Jonathan Hurst, Paducah, Kentucky zone. That Cash Racing exit tire. 7 now coming. Big angle there, Branden digging deep into that touch and go. That bumper goes flying off now into that second outside zone. Goes Sorensen. Plumes of smoke coming off that BMW. And Jonathan Hurst can leave the line. And there we go. Leaving that start chicane, goes Forsberg. The Valvoline lubricants go round it. Branden Sorensen hits him from the back, but Forsberg stays in it. Pin it to win it. And Forsberg does not back down. The three-time champ takes a licking, but keeps on ticking. And Sorensen shuts it down as Forsberg continues. Right, a very impressive run there from Forsberg, that VR Power 370Z. That was the confidence. He had early throttle issues in the season, but that VR engine definitely capable. Looks like he might dial it back a little bit, give himself some ground. Not an inactive chase, but he knows he maybe has potentially a little more aggressive of a vehicle. Works it down low, works it back up high. You can see how quickly he gets to the side of Branden Sorensen. Now coming to that second outside zone, you can see him reel him in. Getting closer and closer to Branden Sorensen. Now past that second inside clip, transitioning back, getting very close. Flirting with disaster in that third and outside zone.